Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here is your weekly market report. We've got a storm out there. It kind of had a little bit of impact on the sales around Florida already, and it wasn't even a named storm until I guess this morning or yesterday. But anyway, numbers were lower. Not as many cattle came in this week. We had a decent sale on Monday. We had, I think, around 1,100, 1,150 or so on Monday, and about 1,000 head Tuesday. I thought we might have a few more head on Tuesday. People trying to bring stuff in before they got all this rain we're expecting over the next couple of days, but it could be still too wet for some people to get their cattle in as it is. And boy, we're sure thinking about everybody up there in the Panhandle. Up there in that Big Bend area, it seems like they're the ones that's getting hammered this year, and we'll be thinking about y'all up there at Madison and Columbia, all up there in that Big Bend area. Hope you guys come through all this stuff okay. But so the weather, maybe it impacted prices, or maybe it was just that the market was headed back up again, but we did see quite a different change in prices this week for the good part. Cows and bulls were higher, and I would think that probably is storm related with fewer cattle showing up for sale this week, but that was a good indication. Cows were several dollars higher, some of them maybe in $10 higher than they were last week, and I don't know if that's a real figure, but it was definitely higher here Monday and Tuesday. When was it? Monday. We had the World Livestock Auctioneer Champion here, Wade Leish from Michigan.
And 10 to 10 there down, 10 $15, $20, 30, down here 35, midnight, sold at 330, DS7.
He's the reigning world champion auctioneer. They have that contest every year, and Wade is the current champion. He was down in Florida and kind of touring around and checking out sale barns, and he called here a few weeks ago, and he wanted to come to Okeechobee. He had heard about us and heard some good things about us, and so he wanted to come meet everybody here, and he took the chair Monday there for about an hour and a half, and man, that guy, no wonder he's champion. He's really good. He did a good job and was able to learn the buyers and the numbers pretty quick and set the cattle in pretty good. He did miss a few because I don't think he's used to these Bremer Cross cattle like we have down here in Florida too much, but he was sharp, and it was really nice to meet him, and wish the best to Wade, and good to meet you. Now, on that note, our regular auctioneer, Aubrey Bailey, in our mind, he's the champion. He's great. We love Aubrey, and he's here every week selling cattle, and his wife Kelly is the clerk, and they're from Lake City and drive down here every week, and I'm sure you guys see him, and if you haven't met him personally, or met them one-on-one, they're always here before the sale if you want to go up to them and thank you for the job that they do, because they do a great job. Aubrey's he's a really good auctioneer, takes all the bids, doesn't miss any bids, and sets those cattle in about right, and doesn't quit until he actually gets every bid. He gets the highest bid every time, and he's always working for the producers, trying to get more money for the producers. And that's a conflict. Every time an animal comes in the ring to sell, the buyers are trying to buy them as cheap as they can, and Aubrey's trying to sell them as high as he can, so it's just a natural conflict. But that's true price discovery, and that's what happened here yesterday. It was it's been kind of crazy watching these replacement quality heifers come in the ring. Any of those good quality replacement heifers weighing over 500 pounds to 650, those calves are bringing as much or more than steers are bringing. So there's only a handful of them. These are really fancy calves, but but we saw a few of those 6-weight replacement heifers bringing up there close to $3 a pound. But that's kind of where the market is on these replacement quality heifers, and that shows us that people are needing to replace old cows, which is a good sign. Don't know if it's where the herd is going to increase in numbers, if the cattle inventory across the country is on an increase now or not. It's kind of a little bit too early to tell, but that's what's going on here. So if you had any of those heifers, I know Ray Luke came in here and he sold a few Monday and came in to pick his check up Tuesday, I believe it was, and came back to see me, and he brought his check with him. He said, "Look at this." He said, "I can't believe it." And I said, "Ray, maybe we made a mistake on your check. We wrote the wrong number down or something," and just messing with him. But no, he had a calf that weighed right at 500 pounds, a heifer calf that brought $295, I believe. It was sure enough good little heifer, but Ray was excited, man. He couldn't believe that little calf brought there close to $1,500. But that's where the market is. So there was, indications that this calf market is going to spur up and rally back a little bit from the lows, and we've talked about getting through September, and there would be a good chance in October for this thing to turn around for the last quarter of the year. See, numbers, the cattle on feed report came out Friday. They were talking about inventory levels of cattle on feed being up a little bit, and it was about where they indicated there, about 1% more than last year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you add more head and then you add more pounds that we've been talking about. These carcass weights are bumping 1,000 pounds on the carcass weight. I mean, and that's just hard to even comprehend, that these cattle they're growing these cattle out so big in the feedlots, and they're having so many days on feed, and these cattle are performing. It's genetics, and it's the packers are wanting these big carcasses. They put them and they box them, they bone them out, they box them, and that's what you get these the box beef cutout prices and all. That's where the packers sell these boxes of beef to the distributors who sell it to the retailers, to the grocery stores, and that's kind of how that thing moves. And there was resistance at the retail level. You know, you could see it plain as day when you go to the meat section and you go look at the ribeyes and the sirloins and those good high-end cuts of steak. It was just really astronomically high. With inflation going on like it is, and consumers' spending ability not as big and not as strong as it used to be, everybody's watching their pennies and their dollars, and they just were laying off that high-priced beef. Well, it hit resistance, and prices have come down a little bit on the retail end of it, and meat was moving, or is moving back pretty good at the level that it is, and it's still high, but it's still moving a little bit better than it was. And the packers are making a little bit of money, and you know, they're not losing money, they're making money. They went out there last week and bought up a whole bunch of cattle. They bought cattle with time, so they've got a standby supply of cattle ready. When they want them, they can grab them. And having said that, they're lowering their kill rate still. They're just not processing that much, and in that way they can keep the retail prices, they can keep the boxed beef prices at a level where they can make money. So it's all kind of, you can call it manipulation, you can call it just good business, but they're in the deal to make money and not lose money, and that's where it's headed. The other things that happened were interest rates were cut. You know, I don't know how 0.5% of interest, half a point, or take a half off of interest, that's going to make that big a deal, but I guess it's a sign that things are, maybe inflation is backing off a little bit, and it gives people a little bit more buying power. At least that's what they want you to think. But it's maybe the psychology of it is that people feel better about the economy. Does that mean you have any more discretionary money to spend? Probably not. Gas prices are lower, fuel prices are lower. Corn crop was big, like record bumper corn crop this year, which means that feed prices are going to be again at a rate that we can live with. It's going to mean that these feedlots can feed these cattle at a cheaper rate. Cost of gain is going to be lower, and as long as we keep this beef demand going and keep the imports out of here and keep our exports up with our numbers the way they are, this market ought to stay where it is pretty good for a while. So calf prices were quoted $5 to $10 higher this week, and it was very obvious. On the heavier calves over 500 pounds, definitely you could see a big difference in those 5-weight steer calves. In the last few weeks have been trading in the 235 to 245 range, and those calves this week would have brought 260, 270 pretty easy. We saw some good 6-weight steer calves bring up there around 250 to 60, so it looks like the heavier weight cattle are a little bit more in demand. But all in all, things are looking up. Probably numbers are going to get back to normal after the storm passes, and we'll probably have some pretty big runs here the next few weeks. But prices have rebounded. Cows and bulls were higher. Like I said, they were maybe $5 or $10 higher than last week, but I think that's just because there weren't as many of them. What else? Bull sales coming up. Every Friday in October, we're starting out with the Deer Valley Angus on Friday, the first Friday in October. And then we go to the Brangus bulls. That would be the Little Creek family and those guys from WET and Sable Ridge and Tommy Taylor and all of them. They'll be here the second Friday in October. And then the Eaton Charolais bull sale is the third Friday in October. Good Charolais bulls from the Eatons. And then the last sale, the fourth Friday of October, will be the Sutphin bull sale. There'll be a mixed breed, several breeds of bulls to kind of clean up and end up the bull sales with. So if you miss one the first 3 weeks, you can come in on that last one and get whatever you didn't end up with that you needed there. High prices this week. Whiskey Steel Ranch. Stanley, we miss you, buddy. And I know that you would have liked to, and maybe, hey, you topped the market in the calf market, and I wish you would have been here to see that, but good job right there from Whiskey Steel Ranch. A little old 195-pound calf brought $4.70. That calf was bought by DNS. And on the slaughter cow side, Claudia Farms from Clewiston, just on the other end of the lake down there from Clewiston, Claudia Farms topped the cow market with a 1,240-pound cow that brought $1.35. That cow was bought by Florida Beef. That's your market report. Thank you.